time, I'd like to have our chief of police lead us in the pledge of allegiance. I'd like to ask our city manager, Jim Anderson, to say a prayer for us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come here today to do the work of the city of Port St. Joe. We ask that you be with our country, our city, our state, and that we do what's the wishes of you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I'll now call the meeting of the Port St. Joe City Commission to order. First up tonight, we have the consent agenda. We have two. We have one from our regular commission meeting on 2/20/18. Then we had a workshop meeting on 2/27/18. And also we had an emergency meeting. So everybody take a minute or two to look over those a little more, and we just need a motion to accept.
So moved.
We have a motion, Commissioner Lizette.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right. Port St. Joe Redevelopment Agency, is Bill here?
No, but I'll give a report for him. We had a meeting this afternoon. The North Port St. Joe PAC submitted a redevelopment plan for their area, and the PSJRA recommended and voted that we pass that on to the city for their review. And that was a big issue. Mr. John Hendry, their consultant, had quite a detailed outline. Those packets will be available at City Hall if anybody would like to look at it. It's quite lengthy in detail and very good. So we're going to pass that on to the city so the city's consultants can review and make any changes we need to make to help that move forward. We'll continue to look at a way to raise, not raise money, but to fund the repaving of Reed Avenue, especially, the parking areas where it's some bad asphalt there. So that's in the works, and that I think it's a major portion of our meeting.
All right. Thank you for that. All right, City Attorney?
Mayor, I don't have anything for you guys tonight unless you have some questions for me
You got an easy job, huh?
tonight.
Any questions for our attorney? Everybody okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you, sir. Jim?
Mayor, the first item we have is in reference to the Palm Boulevard Bridge. At the last meeting, we did have a discussion, pedestrian versus golf cart bridge. So we started the discussion again. I don't know if we want to continue the discussion or not, Mayor, if it's something we want to plan for toward our budget process, or how we want to move forward on it tonight.
I think we're gonna need a workshop on it. I mean, to start with, wasn't much discussed about a golf cart crossing also, but since then, there's probably been 3 or 4 people approached me about it, saying they thought it'd be a good idea to make it into a golf cart crossing. And the biggest reason is because that keeps people having to get on Garrison, and it keeps people having to get on Monument, which you're not supposed to be on anyway, except for to go a block or two to get off and go down. But if you put one there for golf cart crossing, all these people coming down Palm Boulevard way go all the way to the school. If they're taking the children to school or picking the children up from school, it keeps them off the busy street. And I went over there and I looked at 18th, 19th, and Palm in that area. I don't see a lot of traffic problems. I mean, very little traffic on those roads, matter of fact. But from a safety point, it might be to our advantage to put a golf cart crossing there. That's why I think we need probably to have a workshop on it sometime.
Yeah,
That's my take anyway.
I agree, Mayor, that we need to do a workshop on it. I would love to get this planned into our budget, just add it to our wish list for the budget season. I really don't think we ought to be coming up, well, good luck coming up with money for it right now. But if we can work it in, figure out what we want and put it in the budget, I think that'd be great.
If John could put some figures together for us for a walking bridge versus one for a golf carts, or either clay, I don't know if we'll obviously have to have it engineered and what have you, but if we could kind of have that in hand before a workshop, that I think might help. It would help me move along a little bit.
Okay. Just let us know when you get ready for the workshop and get one scheduled. The next item we have is a reference to the SCOP grant application. It's due by the 30th of this month. Staff's been trying to come up with some ideas. We've been successful twice, Garrison Avenue, the first phase, and we're scheduled to do the second phase up to this building within the next year. We were trying to think of an option that may be available there. One that come to mind, Mr. Grantland had a good idea, First Street, from Highway 98 to 71, that's actually a connector road. If it's a connector road, you get a few more points for the process. You're still competing with 92 municipalities, so it's still a slim chance, but
It needs it.
yes, sir, it needs it, and we need to make a decision if we want to go ahead, because we need to have time to get with Mr. Smallwood to put an application together, because within 30 days.
I won't hurt anything to go out and ask for it. All they do is say no.
Great idea.
We need a vote on that?
Yes, sir.
I need a motion to
Make a motion that we apply to the state SCOP grant from First Street from 98 to 5th Street or 71.
we have a motion by Commissioner Brazil. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right.
On the new business, first item is the 4th of July fireworks. It's time again to start submitting our contract for fireworks. Last year we did a $15,000 show is what we did last year, Mayor. Talking with the fireworks folks, there's a little bit of an increase. To put on the same show is $15,450 July 4th.
What is the budget?
We have 7,500, is that what we have?
That's correct.
We have 7,500 city offered. The TDC has been giving us 5,000 in the past, so we're a little bit short on there, but recommendation to go ahead and let's sign a contract and let's see if we can find, maybe the TDC can help us out some more, maybe some of the county, I'm not sure, but I think folks would like to see the same show as
Well,
well.
we can't really afford to wait. We need to go and get stuff in the works.
Yeah, Mayor, you've been representing them on TDC, you may think you could sweet talk them into 7,500
I'll
this
do
year
my
instead of
best.
5,000. That would help us.
Do we need a motion on that one?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Have a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook. Have a second. Second, Commissioner Langston. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Right.
And we're hoping to utilize the old mill site. We know that time's limited on that. We'll ask St. Joe Company again to see if we can utilize that site. All right, the next item we have is in reference to the United States Lighthouse Society Preservation Grant Program. The St. Joseph Historical Society would like to talk to you tonight. Ms. Linda Wood, I believe, would like to present it to you.
Please sign in, and if you would print your name. Had a little trouble reading some of them last time.
No problem. You may have trouble reading my print.
No.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
We were visited by two officers of the United States Lighthouse Society a couple of weeks ago, and they brought to our attention that they have a new grant process for preservation of lighthouse structures only. Some pretty quick turnaround on this. You have to have your letter of intent in by May 4th. Then they choose 6 to actually file an application by June the 4th. You have to have it in by July the 2nd, and they tell you whether you got the money on August 4th. So they work quickly. But they climbed the lighthouse and they identified several things that we would be eligible for this grant for. Specifically, we have a little bit of a rust problem on the watchroom floor, and also one of those big curved glass windows in the lantern room has a crack from the top to the bottom, and that would also apply. You can use it for consultants to tell you exactly what you need to do to preserve the structure, and I'm no expert, but it looks like the tower part, we're in pretty good shape. but the watch room and the lantern room does need some work. The grants typically are $10,000. They give you 50% at the time that they notify you that you have been approved. The only little item we have is city cannot apply for it. Has to be a 501c3. And their requirement is that it is a nonprofit organization that either owns or is legally responsible for the preservation of the lighthouse. So that means I've got to have something saying that I'm authorized by the city of Port St. Joe to seek after these preservation funds. So I don't know if that's.
We need a vote on that or just give a verbal?
I think it would be appropriate to vote for it, and direct staff to give them a letter to go forward on the grant.
All right, anybody make that motion?
Sounds good, I'll make it.
All right, got a motion from Commissioner Brazil. Second from Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you,
Opposed?
John.
Motion carries 4. Yes,
Appreciate it.
ma'am.
We'll get you something soon.
The next item we have tonight is a reference to fire truck purchase. Over the last couple of years, the city has been escrowing funds in preparation for fire truck purchase. We've not purchased one in over 10 years. Currently, we have roughly, what do we have, 160,000
It's 132,000,
plus this year?
plus this year's 22, that's 154.
Okay. So right now, we have about $150-some thousand escrowed. What we're looking at is lead time on a purchase of a fire truck. Your fire chief is here, John Ford. I'll let him come forward and give you some specifics on it. But what you're looking at is a lead time of over a year probably to build this type of vehicle, because it's not something you just pick up off the lot. So
Lead time on the truck itself, build time is over 300 days after the first prints are drawn up of the truck. First prints takes roughly 2 months to have the truck drawn up, 2 specs for them to start building. Like you said, we have a 25-year-old truck that we're trying to get rid of because of the age and your ISO rating. Our plans are to get rid of the engine 2, 532, and rescue, because right now we're not getting no accreditation on our ISO for our rescue truck. If you take that equipment and put it on that fire truck, it'll help our ISO enough. But that's what we're after tonight.
And the ISO, that determines the rate of the insurance.
Your fire,
Right.
yes, sir.
John, you made us a proposal here, I guess it would be a proposal, 362,000 and a few dollars and cents. And I know there's only a few places in the country that build fire trucks, and most of them are state contract
Yes,
price.
sir. Yes, sir. There's state contract, and then we have another contract we're looking at to
Yeah,
try to work
and-
through that.
What I'd like to see us do, I'd like to see us go out to bid for this thing. You put your specs, go out to bid, because I know we've, there's a place in Indiana, so forth around, but there's also one in the state of Florida.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to at least give them an opportunity. I mean, it's in our state, employ state of Florida individual. I don't want to see us spend this money out of the state if we can get a better, at least the same amount price for everything you want in state. Is that a problem?
No, sir, it's not a problem, but E1, and I'm just talking to the salespeople, same truck, you're looking at $40,000 to $50,000 more. I mean, I'll be glad to go out on bid process if the board wishes, which I don't have a problem with that, but, you know, I'm just trying to lock in so it won't be the end of 2019 before we get a new truck.
Right. And I'm 100% for it. We need one, and for everybody's sake. But I still, I don't know. We might come out better. You
don't know.
You don't. But I mean, we've got this. I assume they're not going to bid more than that. It kind of look bad if they did. I mean,
Well, it'll be so bid, so everybody be fair game.
yeah, I agree. But I mean, that's my opinion, and I'm just one of this body.
But, and my question is, we've got $150,000 put away, that still leaves with $212,000 to come up with. If we can sell the old truck for 50,
40 to 50,000, yes,
where
sir.
are we getting 160 from, Mike?
Well, there's several
When it's
options.
delivered.
You know, we're certainly, we can look at the end of this cycle and see where we fall with the general funds, if we have any funds that we could escrow towards it. And again, in the budget cycle, we can certainly look to try to scrounge up as much as we can. But no, we're not going to find 162,000 in the budget.
Will there be a finance option for the remainder?
We can look at the financing option as a remainder, and we'll work on that to try to bring you some options on
Yeah, I mean, we need to get it ordered, but I hate to commit not knowing where we're gonna get the money from.
Yeah, and gosh, we waited this long, what's another 30 days, 45 days? If we go out to bid, I feel like we're all on board with it.
Yeah,
It's
I'd
just
like to make sure we're getting the best price.
Yeah,
That's the wish of the board.
I'd like to see it go through a bid process.
I like that.
John, can you get us that?
Yes, sir.
together?
Can we go, when can we go out for bid for it?
Mayor, if we can get a motion to request to go out to bid for it, I can get with John and get the specs, and then as soon as all the bids come back in, we can bring it back to you to see if that's what you want to do.
Motion to go out for bid for a new fire truck.
I'll have a motion, Commissioner Ashby, have a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Eric Langston. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
John, appreciate it.
The last item I had on tonight, Mayor, was Emerald Coast Dance Academy. We had a request come in to replace the AC unit on the back for the dance studio here for your consideration tonight.
So we're hearing from the dance academy.
I'm not sure if Barbie's here tonight or not, Ms. Walker. She may be back at dance class.
What does the lease say about things like that?
It says that the tenant is responsible for numerous things, including the air conditioning.
Was anything wrong with it when they first took over?
Not that I'm aware of, Mayor. I think everything in the
Worked
bill,
for a while,
everything in the
it's
bill is old.
Right, right.
I don't, to be transparent about this thing, I've got two great nieces and, that participate out here, and so I'd have to face my nephew and niece and my sister. But the bottom line is, I mean, taking emotions out of it, I don't, they've got a very, very favorable lease, monthly lease, and I can't see doing it.
Jim, is there anything we can do with our staff to Band-Aid the problem for now? Make it limp along through the summertime?
Not that I'm aware of, no, sir. We don't have an AC tag. Generally, what we do is we sub that out. We have electricians on staff, electrical, which we upgraded the electrical. We did do that. But as far as AC, Philco usually handles most of
And
it.
not only that, Commissioner Ashbrook, we'd be setting a precedent of, public employees working on private enterprise, that I'm afraid that create a big problem for them.
Well, have we seen anything that says it has to be replaced, that can't be fixed? She had anyone look at it?
I have no idea. Jim's been talking to her.
To my understanding, I think the compressor's been replaced on it before, maybe, but I'm not sure. Like I said, that's what I was understanding.
Well,
I mean, I
I feel
sympathize
like we
with
have
her,
to go
but
by the lease.
yeah, we got
Unless there's any wiggle room in there, we might could help them some kind of way with a certain portion, I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if we bought the air conditioner, I would certainly want to get an amendment on the lease that'd go up on a monthly rent. I mean, $500 a month, you can't find any place that's going to be that reasonable.
That's creative.
So,
Maybe we could talk to her.
Say,
See where we
we'll
go.
basically finance it for her, but we'll get our money back.
yeah, that's about the same thing, but anyway, my stance is really it's her job.
Jim, can we just have you kind of feel her out a little bit and see if she might be open to any of those ideas?
Anything else, Jim?
Yes, sir, it's all right.
All right. Public Works.
Mayor, no real update as far as the water line replacement from last meeting. We finished our portion so far of the CDBG. We're in transition. We have the materials in for the last portion, but we're just trying to get a lot of other things done first. So that will come just at a later date. The MLK sidewalk project, we're pouring those tomorrow. So we're hoping, very, very soon, we're done completely with that. The last item I have on there is I'd like to get permission from the board to go out for bid on a new submersible pump for the lift station in St. Joe Beach. We've been doing a lot of work on that station since the end of last year. The station's had one pump, since then, and since we've ended where we're at, we feel more comfortable with the pump selection. But I anticipate this cost to be between $20,000 and $30,000.
Is that in our R&M budget for repairs and maintenance for you?
Not that much, no. I mean, there's money in the budget, but $30,000 specifically tagged for that, no.
Is that what it costs?
My guess is between 20 and 30.
It's a necessity at this time.
I would consider it very much, so, yes.
Can we shuffle some things around? Just to give
You
you
can talk with
money?
Mike on that.
Yeah.
He's the shovel guy.
Yeah. We do have some funds earmarked for the Cape, for system, the generalized dollars that we could look at adjusting, shifting over to that project.
If it's a necessity, guys, we need it, as long as they can work it out.
Make a motion, we go out to bid for the St. Joe Beach lift station.
Second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Brazil, a second from Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
That's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
That's it?
Any
Any questions for John from anybody? All right, thanks, John. Surface water.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, only report I have tonight is we did receive the new filters and we have installed them, and they are performing well for us right now. Just let you know. And that's all I have unless you have questions.
All right, any questions for Larry? All right, Finance Director.
We did get approval to move forward with the Jones Homestead Sewer Project. We had 55 people that were interested, so we're actively signing up committed $500 commitment and applications from those customers right now to secure their free grinder pump and the waived impact fees for potentially 65 customers. So anybody in Jones Homestead who wants to tie into the city sewer, we do have a very good deal going on that through the grant, and to have them contact me to get
What
that
is the
signed.
savings on that, Mike?
The total fees are approximately $6,000, and these customers are only paying $500. They will have some after installation costs on their property to crush and fill their existing septic system and to install that grinder pump. So they'll have the $500 they pay us, and they'll have to hire a plumber to install that grinder and to crush and fill their system. So they do have some additional costs, but they're going from potentially $9,000 total to $3,000 total to do it now. And unfortunately, if they don't hook up now, after those lines are installed, when their septic system fails, they will be required to tie in, unfortunately at that higher rate at that time. So anybody in Jones Homestead who needs sewer, it's available affordably.
So do we need to go out to bid for materials, get started on that project?
Yes, sir, that's going to be the next thing we're going to ask you tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Beat you to it. I'll make a motion, we go out to bid for materials for
And boards,
Homestead Sewer.
And more.
And boards.
And board, yes.
We got a motion from Commissioner Brazil,
Second.
second from Commissioner Eric Langston. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right, that's all for you, Mike?
Yes, sir, that's it.
Jim, you got anything on wastewater?
Yes, sir. Mr. Pettis is under the weather today, so he's not at work today. Basically, they are not spraying this week, Mayor. They're taking the month off, so it's about rehab at the plant, so that's what they're working on.
Okay.
Not a lot going on.
All right, sounds good. City engineer.
Yes, sir. Real quick, the concrete that Rent's been poured,
So they'll get the cones out of the way off the other side at the end of this week, kind of get it all.
They done got both sides now?
Yes, sir, that's both sides are poured, yes, sir. The CDBG project, the patches on them, okay, they plan to do those Wednesday, Thursday for this week. They were letting the rain get out of here today, put it on, so that's coming up to a close, really. We're in the punch list, we're generating a punch list, so that project's wrapping up. All the customers are on the new lines at this point, so company's coming to a close. I think that was it, that's all I had.
Sand and silt at the boat ramp.
I'll go down there tomorrow. I hadn't been out there to look, but I have their final pay request, and so before I sign it, there's 87,000 reasons why they come to look. We'll make sure they get it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, anything
Thank you.
for Clay, anybody? Thank you, sir. Code enforcement, y'all look at the report, Richie filled out for us.
Sure.
Police department.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, I just have a couple of things. The first one is, we've received some complaints about the speed limit on Monument Avenue near the Methodist Church, specific to it being high. They have an estimate of about 150 kids there, and they think the speed limit's high. John and I went out there and looked, and what we're willing to present, or I'm willing to present, is us dropping that speed limit from 30 to 15 miles an hour between 9th Street and 13th Street. So we want your approval for that. Coming from the stop sign at 9th Street at the Y, just as you ease out, John will put a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit sign, a slow children play sign.
Probably a watch for children or something to that effect.
And then coming from 13th Street in the 1300 block, he's gonna put a sign that says reduce speed ahead.
Go ahead, I'm
And
asking.
then in the 1200 block, one block later, it'll drop to 15 from 30. That's our proposal.
That's correct.
And is it more expensive to have one of those yellow lights that flash with the speed?
Yes, sir.
A lot more expensive.
A lot more expensive.
Because it's basically like a school zone now.
It is, and actually, it doesn't meet the criteria for us to deem it a school zone.
Right.
So, you know, they have 150 kids there now, coming and going in the morning and the afternoon, and they're gonna have more than that in the summer, so.
It's all about safety, and I don't have any problem with that.
I'll make a
Vote
motion.
on this? All right. You make a
Motion to reduce the speed limit.
Got a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook, got a second?
A second.
Second from Commissioner Langston. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Slow them down.
We'll hope that works. We'll spend a couple of weeks out there. We had Sergeant Richard set out there today and worked a little traffic getting them ready for it, so.
Okay.
We'll spend a couple of weeks out there, and then if warnings don't work, we'll go from there.
Okay.
The next thing I have on the agenda is this is my last chance to remind everybody about our Police Department Family Fun Day this Saturday, Frank Pate Park, 10 to 2. Be a lot of free stuff there, food. We're giving away 20 bicycles that have been donated by the Fort St. Joe Lions Club and other area merchants. There'll be free pony rides, free petting zoo, just like last year. So just want to invite everyone out for that. I want to thank Tim Croft, who's here today. He wrote a nice article in Thursday's paper about the event. This is the 3rd year we've had it, and appreciate him writing that article.
All right. Any
That's all I
questions
got.
for the chief?
Yeah, I got one.
Go ahead.
On Avenue 8, we have a car coming off 71, like it's, Avenue 8 is, a highway. I see a couple of deputies there, you know, sitting there every now and then, but we have kids walking, you know, we got those new apartments over there, so we have more kids, more traffic walking down the sidewalk. And, I just want to see more, I wish we could see more police presence through that area.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? That's it. All right. Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Ms. City Clerk.
I don't have anything unless y'all have some questions for me.
Anything from our city clerk tonight? All right, citizens to be heard. Anyone in the audience wish to speak tonight, please come up and print your name on the clipboard and we'll talk. Anyone want to come up? Come on.
Here I am again.
Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. Well, they finished the installation of the water line, but in doing that, they tore up the road, but they patched it with some rocks, but now the rocks have settled in and they're still leaving big holes in the so I'm wondering if they're gonna pave that or what they're gonna do with that.
Any certain area, what street?
Well, Avenue, Martin Luther King, and I think it's Avenue E and D, yes, that I know about, because I have to drive through
Right.
that area. And my tires, I just bought my tires and they're really taking a beating.
Right.
Wednesday and Thursday, this week, this week.
This week will be taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Oh, one more issue. Now, there was a young lady that was out at the food bank distribution yesterday, and she had to be escorted by a police department, policeman. And, you know, it's really a sad day when they're trying to abandon a lady from coming out there to get what she so richly deserved. And so.
Did she ask for a police escort?
Yes, she did. Because she was afraid to go out there by herself. And I'm wondering why is that happening and what can we do about it to stop it?
Chief, you know anything about that?
We were asked by a citizen to accompany her to the food bank. She had an issue, I believe, with someone who worked there. So one of our officers went out there to make sure nothing happened.
We'll look into it.
Okay, because she should go out there freely and not having to be escorted by a police officer.
That's every other Thursday. I mean, every Tuesday.
Every Monday.
Every Monday
Yes.
and the second and fourth Tuesday, is that?
Yes, when they distribute the food, the actually food boxes. Okay?
Okay, done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Anyone else? Come on up. Sign in, please, and then state your name and address.
My name's Claire Morris. I live on 1304 Marvin Avenue. I'm here tonight because of I was made aware of the conceptual plans for the expansion of 10th Street Park. And after getting a copy of the plan that was not easy to come by, I was really devastated at the impact that it's going to have on the residents that live on the park. I'm speaking not only as a homeowner and a taxpayer, but as someone who loves baseball. I used to play baseball. My son played baseball. Excuse me. I was assistant coach, team mom, and it's not the fact of baseball or the complex, it's what it's going to do to our community. As we walk the field and walk the park, as we talk to residents, they are unaware of any plans. And when we do approach them and show them the plan, it was always, aren't they building that out by the Field of Dreams? I thought that was going in here. And the park that you and your predecessors built is really a gem. I mean, it is a beautiful park. It attracts people. When we were walking the Port City Trail, we would we'd meet people who were out from the Cape. They were staying at the Mainstay Suites, at the Port Inn, all different places, and they were attracted by the Port City Trail. So you've done a great job, and they love the park and the open spaces. But looking at that plan, it almost doubles the size of the current fields for tournament play. It would bring the fields, parking for 250 cars, concessions, restrooms, the people and the lights literally into our backyards. our bedrooms back up to this park, our patios, it would destroy our privacy. It would destroy the beauty of the park, cutting down the trees and replacing them with parking lots. And this area is really important for drainage. A lot of our properties already have a lot of water that settles after a rain. And paving these areas is going to create a whole lot more water runoff. What we would like, to keep our neighborhood ball fields, maybe make some improvements, help with some parking. There was, in the plans, there was information to building a splash pad. That would be wonderful for the children, maybe some of the adults. But building a sports complex in the middle of a residential area just doesn't make sense, especially when we have an area to do that. There won't be room for future growth and expansion, and it would permanently destroy our privacy in our homes. So I ask you two things. If we need a sports complex to attract the tourist dollars, I am all for that. As a taxpayer, I welcome bringing the input of the dollars, the jobs that it could create, but we need to put it outside of the town. And we need to preserve the quality of life for the citizens that are here already. Thank you. I hope you'll hear us. And also the communication of it. As we talked to folks along the park, nobody knew about it. I mean, it was a shock. And these are people who have lived here for a long time. And I think the communication and getting the public involved in any plans and getting an ideas is something that really needs to be done before there are any future plans are going any further with this plan. Thank you.
You do know we do have a meeting on the 20th.
Yes.
The committee that handles all that. Really, all this board has done at this time is approved the conceptual plan. And they're still in the early stages, and I'm sure something can be worked out.
But I know y'all have a lot of power and say-so with it.
Well, if I can respond, I'm the city's representative on that committee. The mayor attends the meetings, and the very first meeting we had, I presented the Field of Dreams concept to that committee. Unfortunately, it fell on deaf ears. The TDC's funding this project. I guess the county feels like that they need to be more involved, even though it's city property where all this is going to be. And I'm as guilty as the next person by not somewhat insisting that the adjoining property owners need to be involved early on. And I mean, we're going to possibly close 8th Street, close 10th Street. It'll increase traffic on Marvin. It'll increase traffic on Woodward. It'll cause us to extend 13th Street. But after that, and that fell on deaf ears, I said, well, we need a complex. So I've kind of gone along with what's been coming down the pipe. I feel like with input from you citizens that live there, that maybe we can slow the train down a little bit. Maybe we'll take a bigger look, possibly back at the Field of Dreams. It's a blank canvas, and frankly, I've said it in the meeting. I've said it here before. I've been to a lot of complexes, and I haven't been to any that's in right in the middle of residential. Weevil Hitch has got a nice area. Apalachicola's got a nice area. You have to drive a little bit, a few blocks, but kids don't ride their bikes at the ball field anymore. They got too much equipment on their back. So frankly, most people come with their parents. But that being said, I sure encourage everyone to come to the meetings, talk to your commissioners, city and county, about your concerns, and I know we'll listen. I feel like they will too. That's all I
Can I
got.
say one thing? I'm not,
Come on up, Robert.
I'm,
Just
I'm
sign in.
a speaker. I've actually come through Little League ball like 20 years ago, come through the same park as a kid, and then Coach Bo, you know, you umpired, and I appreciate y'all letting me come to talk, but this come about, this same thing come about 20 years ago. I've got a hunt lease right down the road. You can actually step out here and see the 30 or 40 acres that the St. Joe gave to the city at that time. Y'all aware of that?
Yes, they were gonna build one there at one time.
At one time, that was the plan at one time. The reason it didn't fall through is what I understand was, that's back when soccer was coming on, and if you build a park, you got to satisfy your baseball players, your softball girls, and your soccer players at the same sometimes, you see what I'm saying? And I think there was like 40 acres out there, and that's the reason it didn't happen. They took it out of my hunt lease. It was the prettiest 40 acres I had, what little I had, and they come in there and cleared it out, nothing but dirt, and I think Benny Roberts might have been there. You know, Benny was good at that thing, and that fell through because they wasn't quite enough to squeeze everything in there. You see what I'm saying? And it would have been the ideal place had it been enough.
Right.
You know, I mean, I could have dealt with it. I mean, I was actually just starting to coach at the time, and I was on kind of on the other end of it. But I'm on the. I mean, just like she said, this affected me now, our neighborhood, and until me and my wife Sunday got around past these pamphlets, and y'all might have seen them both. Y'all want one of these?
I've heard about them.
I'd like to see
I
them.
mean, I'll give each one of y'all one, but, and I got on my golf cart and started at 8th Street and went around Marvin and come back around and had the people I knew, I would stop, and some people you knock on the door, they're not gonna come to the door.
Right.
And, but anyway, this is what we, actually, Miss Claire wrote these up, and, so you get one more. I'm all, just like you said, I'm all for baseball, all for the kids. Now, I spend as much time down in this Little League Park as anybody. And I know at one time, we had 6 teams in 3 districts. We had 3 times the kids. Now, Bo, you know that. I mean, you can answer that. I can sit there and name the businesses we had to sponsor teams. But now, I don't know what participate might. Do you know? I mean,
I haven't
far as,
heard the numbers this year, but
There's 2 ozone teams, I think 3 AAA, 4
And-
double, so the numbers have gone down.
And I understand if you're gonna have a district tournament, this is handled district tournament, this park, I mean, I've actually been on several and I know it'll handle it, but it's not gonna handle a state or a big tournament. I understand that. I mean, you could do some improvement, but what I'm seeing, like I say, don't get me wrong, if we're gonna build something like this, let's find some land somewhere close by, you know, St. Joe, I mean, Desiree, I mean, they still got, I mean, they could be the chairperson, you know what I'm saying? They bought up, I mean, they got to be some land that's centrally located, every kid can, you know, there's not many, like I said, go ride a bicycle, we're gonna get them there. Let's find something, but let's don't cram everything right in the residential area. You see what I'm saying? And I that's all I can say. I mean, what she said about the drainage, Bo, you know, I've already got drainage problems.
Right.
You know, I mean, that ditch, I mean, that's taking everything. You cover that ditch up, you ask for problems. That's all I got to say for now. And one more thing, I did talk to Sandy Quinn. I know he's heading this up, and Sandy's as good a guy as anybody. I'm sure it's all going to be worked out for everybody to be happy. That's all I got for now.
Robert, will you sign that for me?
I will.
If you don't, Miss Shaw, get on me.
Well.
Thank you, Robert.
Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Come on up, sir.
So my name's Tommy Lander, and I don't think any of y'all know me. I've met Jim, talked to Bo the other day. He was under a house looking for termites. But I want to get to know you as time goes on, but this is the first time I've had to come here for something around business going on in the city. And it's the same thing. It's talking about what we're trying to do over at the ball field. And I don't think anybody in here that came to speak tonight is opposing doing something for the kids. I mean, that's a good thing to do, right? When we start looking at tournament ball and bringing lots of people in and how you're going to manage them as far as traffic and getting through, you know, that part of it and the safety of that. Y'all talked about safety a lot here tonight. That's what bothers me. That's the biggest issue I have is how could we manage it, get folks in safely and not disrupt the residential area. So, I mean, my one suggestion would be if you got to do it there, come in from 71. I mean, you got a 4-lane highway coming in and out that can handle a lot of traffic. You got less residents down there. And if this was something that had to be done in that area, I certainly would move it to that end. But, I mean, Claire and Robert said everything. I can repeat it. I guess the only thing I would add differently that they may not have zeroed in on is I walk that track every day. I'm lucky. I'm retired, and I get to get out there, and I spend a lot of time out there. And I talk to folks every day. Talk to some people. Y'all know what Ubers are? Upper Peninsula, Michigan. I talked to them this morning, walking their dog. They come down and they enjoy it, and there's been people like that all year long. And it's fun to meet them. I love the little town, so I love promoting it. And it's just a very good thing you've got today that brings people here. And my fear would be that if you totally with the design you've got today, and you put all of that in there, that people like that wouldn't come in the off-season. And off-season's important too, right? You got to try to keep something going for the city. You got to have income coming in. So I think before I totally changed up what is working today, I would consider all my options. And I know about kids riding their bikes out to the park if we put it out there, but you know, my daddy drove me to ball practice, and I took my kids, and parents are usually involved, so I don't think it would be that big a deal. But there's got to be a way to work it out where everybody can kind of find a compromise to make this work. I just don't see it with the current design. Now, last but least, I do have one personal issue with it. If you look at that current design, and I don't know if anybody here could explain it to me, but there's a settlement waste area right beside my house. My house is right on 16th by the bridge. So as you start to develop how you're going to handle the drainage when the piping ends, I don't know if that's a continuous flow like on the other side where you have a weir, and if you got water moving, it's not so bad for mosquitoes and all of those kind of trappings. But obviously I wouldn't want to walk out my driveway and right there is a settlement pond where it's got to sit there and leak out and filter out. So I don't know how much of the design is, you know, in stone, how much has to be there, but I would certainly want to have some dialogue, if you got to do it that way, about what is that really going to be. It's like on the south side, that's kind of nice, right? But if it's going to be just a runoff that sits right beside my house with a collection basin, I guess you call it, then that might not be too good for me. So anyway, I appreciate your time, and I do look forward to getting to know y'all a little better. Whatever you can do on this to help us and to find a good compromise, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else from the public? No? Yes? All right. Well, I talked you into it. Please sign in for me.
Okay.
Print.
Print.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
We
I will
read
do
print a
that.
little better.
I'm a newbie. I'm a transplant. I've lived here not quite 2 years yet. We came here because of the bay. We found this place on our boat. We stayed, we came back because of your bay, because of the town and the friendliness, and because of the walking trails. I live right on Marvin, right behind these fields. I'm not opposed to fixing the ball fields. I don't think bringing in tournaments is really going to help the tourism in this area as much as preserving the bay. And if you take away the small town feel of it, and you do anything that in any situation, any level of rainfall deteriorates the water in the bay, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I'm very concerned, I mean, that you spent a ton of money on Buck Lake to help mitigate sediment going into the lake. Channelizing from 8th Street to 16th Street, everybody knows that channelizing just increases erosion. The water's going to move quickly through there. The way it is open with vegetations on either side, that helps. And to put in a sediment pond, as the last gentleman said, that might just make more of an issue, because there isn't the flow that you get in Buck Lake that has its own little dam, and so it moves. So that's my concern. I would hate to see anything happen to destroy that gorgeous, gorgeous bay.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anyone else? All right, then, we'll go to commissioners. Commissioner Mazette?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Have a few things tonight. First thing, we discussed paving of Reed Avenue that the PSJRA wants to spearhead. To do it right, to make it shiny new penny, I guess you'd say, may end up well over our budget and amount of maybe $250,000. Bringing this up tonight, I would like for us to think about the city participating in some form or fashion in that endeavor. Find a way to write it up next year's budget somehow, to budget a certain amount that we could all maybe agree on, that we could live with without raising taxes. But bottom line is, Reed Avenue's gotten pretty busy. We've got a lot of activity on Reed Avenue, new shops opening. So I would like the city to consider participating in that project. The other thing, back when we sold a piece of property at the end of 7th Street, we got money to light the walking path at George Court Park, I think $10,000. And do we know where that project is at the present time?
I think we moved forward at all at this point in time.
Yeah.
So we have the $10,000?
Yes.
Okay. Let's check on that.
We haven't bid any lights or anything up. But yes.
So I'd like to see us ratchet that back up. Folks enjoy the walking and late in the day and so forth. So I'd like to see us do that. And also we've had one workshop on accessory buildings. I'd like us to look at scheduling another workshop, and we're on what, March 6th right now. What's the wishes of the board as far as dates?
I'm open.
Maybe an off Tuesday?
Excuse me?
One of the off Tuesdays?
We can either do that, or we could have it at 5 o'clock on the 20th, which is our next regular meeting day.
Will we have time to draw up the language, Mr. Attorney, that we discussed previously?
Where I'm at right now is I'm submitting the suggestions that you guys came up with at that workshop to the zoning board.
Yeah,
They're gonna give their recommendation.
Yeah, and so that, they meet when?
I think next week.
Second Tuesday.
So they meet the 13th, so that may give them time to maybe get us some feedback for our 20th workshop.
That work?
Is that good? 5 o'clock?
Let's do it.
That'll work for me.
Okay. That's all I have, Mayor.
Mr. Ashbrook.
I just kind of wanted to speak to the ballpark. We're still a long ways away from putting a shovel in the ground, I believe. This plan has some issues. I've still yet to be convinced that we can accommodate travel ball in this town. There's not enough infrastructure. We had 2 teams that took up an entire hotel. What happens if you got 10 teams? Where are they going to stay? There's a lot of reasons why they may go into Frank Brown Park. It's a lot more accommodating. I would like to see us maybe focus on a plan that kind of keeps the park the way it is, fix it up, and then add some more things along the walking trail. What about those railroad tie workout centers that you see sometimes? What about ultimate frisbee course that's very low impact to the ground? I'd like to possibly see the county commission hear from all of you and hear your ideas. That workshop, well, not workshop, the regular meeting is March 20th, 9 a.m. at the Emergency Operations Center, and I'll encourage anybody to attend that. I'm going to do my best to be at that meeting and just kind of express some concerns. You know, if the citizens that live in the area have a voice, this is what they're telling us. We need to make sure that they understand that. And granted, they are giving us a whole lot of money to do it, but I don't know that we need to play their ball. We can offer our suggestions. So again, I'd like to encourage everybody to go out there on March 20th and express these concerns. And that is all that I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Avery, thanks.
I'm concerned about what's going on at the Weed Center with the grocery handouts. I think we as a board need to pay more attention to what's going on out there and maybe go out and see how it's running and see how the volunteers are doing and how people are just being treated and all around, overall, not only just the ones that's getting the groceries, the volunteers, how they're being treated, you know. Because when people volunteer their time is money to me. I mean, when people volunteer their time, that's amazing to me that they volunteer their time to help these people that really need them. So I believe that we need to try to go out and see how it's going out there every now and then, if not every time they're dispensing the groceries. And also, I'd like to thank the citizens for coming out and letting us hear your voice about this ballpark. If you don't come out and voice your opinion, we'll never know. It's not like we're trying to sweep anything under the rug. It's just that when we do business, we do it here. And when you're not here, I guess we don't see what's going on. But I appreciate you coming out and giving us your opinion.
Anything else? And I'll just piggyback on what the last 2 commissioners said. You know, this is the early process of this thing. There's a lot of options to look at, you know, whether to stay there, whether to go somewhere else, or what like the man said, I've even asked, can we go towards 71? You know, I mean, is that a possibility instead of going towards 16th Street? So we've got a lot of things, you know, that the committee, I'm wanting them to look at to make sure, and I advise every one of y'all to be there on the 20th. So that is the important meeting, really, for now, anyway.
Look off.
All right, now, that's all I have to say about anything. I need a motion to adjourn. Got a motion and a second.